Welcome once again, everybody, to what time is it? Episode 2. We're off and running. We're out of the gates. So, what we're going to talk about today, belts. White, blue, purple, brown, black in the adult system. Kids system, entirely different. This really doesn't relate to kids and kids promotions. So, belts. Belts are the double-edged sword. All right, belts can be a very positive experience, and belts can be a very negative and detrimental experience. So let's just talk our way through this, just simply from my point of view. It's not to say it's right. It's not to say it's wrong. It's just the way I look at things. Okay, so belts from a good perspective. All right, it's a nice benchmark of the work you're putting in on the mats. You know, you've earned your blue belt, you've earned your purple belt, brown belt, black belt. It's a nice nod from your instructor to say, hey, I recognize the work you're putting in. You are becoming more and more adept at this very difficult art, and I acknowledge that. And from a completely external motivating point of view, that's a good feeling, right? It's like getting a sticker in school when you got 100 on the test. You know, here's your little sticker that says, you know, great job, me wow, and has got a little cat on it. So belts can be a very, very positive experience. They can also have a negative experience behind them, a negative connotation behind them, right? A lot of times people get so fixated on the belt they're wearing that they're losing the overall picture of jiu-jitsu and what brought them to jiu-jitsu and what keeps them in jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to talk my way through just some of my experiences I've had with belts from my own perspective and from the perspective of an instructor and the perspective of what I see members perceiving belts to be. So let's start off with one of the more common ones, right? People come in and they start with no knowledge, right? They're a white belt and they start training along the way. And ultimately they go, well, what's my first belt? And I said, well, it's the blue belt. And for us here at Gracie NEPA, the blue belt generally signifies that you have a working knowledge of our Gracie self-defense curriculum. In other words, that if you walked outside these doors, you are going to be able to survive 99% of street altercations. Now notice I didn't say win, you're going to survive them, okay? That to me is a blue belt. You can demonstrate adeptness with the punch block series. You can demonstrate adeptness with escaping the mount. You can communicate to me positional hierarchy. You can communicate and exhibit to me strategies along the way, right? Not just a catalog of techniques, that you can actually put together the fight blueprint and understand the fight blueprint. That to me is a blue belt here within our academy and our network. Now, where that becomes an issue for people is now you get somebody who comes in and their motivation, I don't want to say isn't to learn jiu-jitsu. They want to learn jiu-jitsu. But they want to say they have a belt. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me that somebody's going to call me right now? We're gonna leave that in there, okay? We're going to leave that in. Lost my train of thought there. This is the fun part around the way. So okay, so I was saying, all right, it's not that they don't want to learn jiu-jitsu, but they want to tell their friends they're this belt or that belt, right? I'm a blue belt, I'm a purple belt, I'm a brown belt, I'm a black belt, and they lose focus of the learning, of the knowledge that they should be amassing, and instead they focus on the happenings on the mat. So, for instance, you're a 200-pound athletic 20-year-old with a little bit of wrestling background, and you've been here 3 months. and you're rolling with a 150-pound woman who's a blue belt, and you happen to tap her. And now all of a sudden you think, well, I should be a blue belt because I tapped that woman. No, it's not how that works, okay? I tapped my first black belt as a purple belt. I did not think I was a black belt. Why? Because I got lucky that day, or I had the physical I had the physical advantage against them. They were a little bit older than me, and they had probably trained 40 hours that week, and I might have trained 20 hours that week. There were so many factors that went into the fact that I had tapped a black belt as a purple belt that it never occurred to me that I was like, well, I get to keep their belt. Like Highlander. There can be only one, and I get to assume all your power. It doesn't work that way. If we were to say, let's have a quiz bowl style knowledge base, the 150-pound female blue belt is going to know vastly more than the athletic 200-pounder that's only been training for 3 months. That doesn't make you a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. So, you can't focus on those type of things. Focus on your knowledge base. Focus on you. Don't worry about the external stuff that happens on the mat. That's all part of the learning process. You want those rolls and stuff to gauge your stuff. Did you tap them with a clean submission from the guard, or did you just grab their head and twist it around like a dumb gorilla trying to fuck a football? These are all things that your coaches notice. They take that into account. The other thing that I find that can be negative with belts is people setting their goal on a belt. In other words, I want to be a blue belt. I want to be a purple belt. I'm going to use purple belt as an example because I've seen the purple belt. I call it the purple belt curse. I've seen so many purple belts quit. And here's my take on as to why. So they come in and they go, one day I'm going to be a purple belt. Okay, cool. Let's work hard to get there. Now they get the purple belt, and because that was their goal, it's just a trophy. It's just like they were playing t-ball. It's just like they were playing biddy soccer and biddy football and the science fair, right? They take the purple belt home, they hang it over their bed with all their other little collections of medals, and then they quit jiu-jitsu and go about the rest of their life, and they start to look for what merit badge can they gain next. So again, belts can be a curse. Like, just people who focus on that belt can just lose sight of what they're really here for, and that's to learn, my opinion, the most beautiful and deadly martial art on the planet. It's a lifelong journey. Don't set your goals as belts. I'm gonna pick on like karate, YMCA, bullshido type stuff where I know always coming up through the ranks, somebody would find out I train jiu-jitsu and they're like, oh, what rank are you? And I'd be like, oh, I'm a blue belt or I'm a purple belt or whatever. Oh yeah, my nephew's a black belt. Oh, in jiu-jitsu, that's awesome. Oh no, in karate, he's a black belt. Oh, how old's your nephew? 10. He's a black belt already. I can't believe you're only a purple belt. Okay, I'll wreck your 10-year-old nephew. I mean, let's be honest. I'll wreck him and all of his karate friends at the same time. And how many of those, youths, and it's not their fault. It's the fault of their parents. How many of those youths are still training to this day? They got their black belt at 12 years old, and now they're 25 years old. Are they still training? I would bet dollars to donuts they're not. Very, very few of them are, because it was just a goal. It was just something their parents wanted for them, or it was just something they wanted to tell their classmates about. It wasn't a passion. It wasn't a lifestyle. It wasn't approached realistically. In other words, so. Belts can be a curse. Belts can be a blessing. It's ultimately how you approach it. It's 10% the ranking system and 90% of how you view it and approach it that is going to define your training. So get off the belts. Just come to the mats, train, have a good time. I'll see you guys in episode 3. I'll see you on the mats. Take care.